necessary to come out and say that.
It's not that like it's like being forced. It's just like knowing like growing up, like I'm grown up to hate this shit. I'm not supposed to ever like
hate what? Hate what?
Homosexuality, gay people. Come on now.
Why you gonna
If you're really from the hood, you know.
Girl, let me. Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on. I am pissed off to the highest form of pissivity after watching this. I just got through watching The Shop, this episode with Lil Nas X, Charlamagne the God, Kevin Love, and Kevin Hart. And I want to know who is responsible for, first of all, even putting Charlamagne the God and Kevin Hart in the same room, the same space to have a conversation about being gay with Lil Nas X. Like, girl, y'all so big on talk about mental health, but y'all, the mental shit that y'all just put Lil Nas X, a young black man, through, is trash. So let's talk about it. So I can't think of the person's name, and they brought up the conversation of why Lil Nas X felt the need to come out as gay. He made an announcement. They didn't say him being gay, or they gave him the opportunity to say whatever. And then here go Kevin Hart. Be what? He came out as gay. So let me tell you something. First of all, Kevin Hart was drunk throughout this whole thing, and it only got worse towards the end. Kevin Hart is one of those drunk comedians that can only be funny once they are lit or on some type of substance. That's what I got from it. And this was gaslighting 101 for Kevin Hart to sit up there and ask, what do you like? Be what? Be what? Like, why do you feel like that? And Lil Nas X, as young as he is, checked Kevin Hart ass. And I'm so glad he did, because Kevin Hart is under the illusion that, oh, homophobia is not being taught, or it's nothing that we experience while we in our childhood or something. Like, girl, I'm about to have an out-of-body experience just roasting this, because I'm just so upset because that was gaslighting. And Kevin Hart cannot see that. Kevin Hart has not learned. Kevin Hart has not grown. He has not evolved. He is still the same person. And before you even get into the conversation and say that Kevin Hart was counseling, and Kevin Hart wants to make comedy great again, because that's exactly the message that y'all are giving me with this Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart situation, where people want to make comedy great again. Well, I can't say the jokes that I used to say because y'all are counseling celebrities. First of all, the celebrities are not even getting counseled. We don't even have the power to even counsel these celebrities, because if you look at it, Kevin Hart still had a deal with Capital One talking about some what's in your wallet. Homophobia was in his wallet and was in their barbershop chair. Second of all, the barbershop is one of the most trauma-inducing places for black gay folks, black queer folks, period. I cannot tell you how many stories that I have experienced being in spaces like this where I felt like my very existence was being questioned. I will give you a prime example. Back when I was in the 11th grade, I think I was like 16 or 17 years old. I might have been 16. I went to a barbershop on the spot in Memphis, Tennessee, in Frazier, in North Memphis, and I was sitting there getting a haircut by my guy Jamal, who is now a pastor. And he owned the barbershop. Now, while I was sitting there getting my haircut, I noticed that somebody was kind of uncomfortable about me. And me, I thought, honestly, me being in high school was probably the most masculine I have ever been. As far as like what y'all want to call femininity or whatever. Me being in high school was the most masculine presenting I ever was. Because I knew in spaces like that, I couldn't be as comfortable being my true self. So I kind of like conformed to protect myself. And that's what I did. And even then, I was still, quote unquote, clocked for being different. And that kind of led to me hating black men, cis hetero black men. That led to me hating them in that experience, because when I left that chair, my friend's sister was in there along with her mother, and this person sitting next to my barber was clowning me and making fun of me like I don't like people like him, not knowing that the folks that were sitting there like about to get their child's haircut was listening to you. They were my friend, and this person was letting the homophobia jump out, and he was clowning me until my friend's sister stepped in and said, girl, no ma'am, you're not gonna do that. Like, no ma'am, we're not gonna do that. That's not right. That's just one experience, but there are so many experiences of black gay men in barbershops And it's just one of those places, like, I'm pretty sure all of it is triggering. I'm pretty sure even this conversation triggering. Because some folks, luckily for me, I have a very intelligent, very well-versed loctician who does my hair. That's why I will never leave him. I love the fuck out of him. I appreciate that I can be my soul self. I appreciate that I don't have to come in and conform. But a lot of black gay men cannot do that. A lot of black queer folks cannot do that. It's not even the barbershop. Even you go into the hospitals and shit. Think about trans folks, what they have to deal with being misgendered, going like, girl, it goes on and on and on. So just because you don't have an experience, just because you've never experienced, because you are quote unquote mass presenting or not clock up or whatever, does not mean that these people's existence doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, oh, that never happened for me, so it couldn't happen for you. Like, girl, do you read books? So to see him in that barbershop, like, I was just like, oh, girl, this is not. And first of all, it wasn't even a black barbershop. It was whitewashed as hell. Shout out to LeBron James for producing this whitewashed ass content, because y'all love centering white folks. Y'all had a white man, Kevin Love, in there. And girl, before y'all start talking about something, well, he knows his place and he hood and da-da-da-da, and he knows his place around black folks. If white folks know their place in black spaces, they will exit out of black spaces. They will take themselves out of black spaces. So check that. So also I have noticed with Lil Nas X, when he gets in these spaces with a lot of masculine energy like that, hyper masculine, his creativity shuts down. And I used to think it was because he wasn't as creative in person versus how he is on social media. But he's when I saw him do an interview in the UK, like 2 different interviews, he was himself. When he did the interview with Angela Martinez, he had on a colorful do-rag. But in this space, he was about to go to a Lil Wayne concert. Like how he was dressed. And I guarantee you them folks probably told him to tone down to fit in. That's so much of what we do when we are in these spaces. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it. When we are in these hyper masculine spaces, we have to tone down, conform to just keep ourselves safe. And that's what pisses me off, because even in this moment, Lil Nas X had conformed, he had toned down to fit in, and you still had Kevin Hart speaking over this man when he's talking about his experience. And I'm glad that Lil Nas X checked him about, you know what it is. If you grew up in the hood, you know what it was. Like, don't play like that. Now, I'm not gonna say that black folks are more homophobic than white folks or whatever, because oftentimes, the oppressed take on forms of the oppressors. So when I see that, I'm like, girl, he ain't getting it. Like, it's not, and I think that, and I don't think, now that I think about it, I don't think that Kevin Hart doesn't get it. He just does not want to get it, because Kevin Hart is wrestling with this idea of not, being able to joke and clown certain things, and the gay, he's still pissed off by that situation that happened with the award show, when them folks told him, like, ain't no way in the hell Kevin Hart finna come out here and host an award show for our white gay asses. Oh, hell no, ma'am. And the white folks tried to get him out of there. They tried to, and then you had, you had Ellen come out there and shield him and say, well, girl, this is my friend. He's being trash. That's all I got to say on Ellen DeGeneres. I don't give a damn how many gift cards she give y'all. I don't give a damn. Ellen DeGeneres is trash. And she's a white woman with power, and I don't trust her ass. I don't give a damn how many pennies and dimes and nickels she give black folks and all you other folks. Sis is just as trash, if not more than some other folks, okay? Period. Kevin Hart has not learned anything from this. Seeing how he overtalked and tried to dismiss Lil Nas X told me everything I need to know about Kevin Hart in 2019. He is still the same person. He is still wrestling with him almost being quote unquote counseling, because y'all think counseling is a real thing, when he's still out here having a whole deal with Capital One, talking about some what's in your wallet. Okay, still out here making money, still out here doing things. And we're in this conversation right now. We got comedians like Kevin Hart and your Dave Chappelle's out here thinking that that their power is being stripped away, and that we are jealous of them being able to succeed and be able to do all these things. But all it is that everybody, Kevin Hart talked about this, everyone has a platform at this point. It depends. Some folks on the platform might be smaller, but if I talk about some things and folks have these similar experiences, we can gain together and we can support each other, and our message is as loud as it was, as loud as it should be. And a lot of these comedians cannot deal with that. A lot of these comedians can't, they don't like the fact that that this stuff can happen to them. And instead of evolving and finding ways to joke about some things and being a talented comedian, they just rather say, oh girl, no ma'am, y'all too sensitive, y'all just ain't getting it, ain't my fault, so make comedy great again. And just watching how, you know, he was just gaslighting him and making it seem like that's not an issue, that like homophobia is not a real thing, was just laughable, and Kevin Hart is just insufferable. I cannot deal with him. Also, Charlamagne the God, Lil Nas ass sitting there, like he knew, Lil Nas knew his place. Lil Nas knew not to play them games. But Lil Nas, I felt like you could have supported him a little bit more and let him talk. But I'm glad that you did when the conversation came about the athletes and stuff, and you know, are they able to come out? I'm glad that you hopped into that, but y'all are still not understanding, and y'all think that just because you're black that you have more, you know, oppression, you're dealing with more stuff than a gay person, whatever, but not realizing, not even thinking about intersectionality, that a person can be black, can be gay, a person can be black and queer and all these other stuff and still deal with all that. Like, I deal with all these things. I'm black, queer, and I'm HIV positive. So I'm walking in rooms dealing with racism. I'm walking in rooms dealing with stigma with HIV. I'm dealing with issues about me being feminine, for being a heavy-set, dark-skinned black man. Like, I'm dealing with all these things, and all of us are part of communities, like different things. Like, all of us have some stuff going on. Like, all of us. And like, the list can go on and go on and go on, but I need folks to understand that there is a list. There is something going on. There is some issue with folks being gay, being feminine. There is an issue. Like, folks are annoyed by that. And y'all need to check yourself. That's not our problem. That's not our issue. And just watching this, like just watching how this whole conversation happened, like you can just tell that Lil Nas X was not in his right element. He wasn't in his right place. And it's also interesting that y'all had a whole conversation about mental health, but y'all damn near destroyed Lil Nas X's mental health by dismissing what he was saying. Y'all were very dismissive. Like the time it took him almost 9 minutes to speak, and then when he finally started speaking about his experience, his lived experience, because I don't think anybody in that room identifies as anything on the LGBTQ plus spectrum but Lil Nas X. But the moment he started speaking about it, you had people say, oh no, that's not what it is, that's not what it is, oh, so he's gay. And saying that, oh, so he's gay, so what? So telling somebody that, oh, you gay, so what, is the equivalent of a white person telling a black person they don't see color. You don't see my existence, you don't see what I'm going through, therefore you don't see me. You don't see me, and it's just, it's a slap in the face. And I had to tell somebody on Twitter, somebody said, I don't correlate the two. And then I had to think for a second, like, girl, are you even gay? Do you even identify on the LGBTQ plus spectrum or anyway? And they ain't answering. And I looked at the damn bio and they said a father with 2 kids. And they told me all I needed to know, all I need to know. So I'm like, why am I even having a conversation with you? Why am I even engaged in what you think? Like, what you think don't do shit for me. Girl, because you don't live the same experience as me. Watching this, the only conversations that were good were about the mental health. And I'm still trying to understand who was this white man, if he was white, touching Lil Nas X hair. This whole thing, I'm scared, I'm nervous. I feel like at this point that I would not be surprised if we see Lil Nas X on a Breakfast Club. And I just really don't think, as of right now, there are not too many queer spaces that Lil Nas X can go on and be a part of. The only one at the top of my head is Kiss and Tell Radio. My girl Shar and Jace are the only people I trust to interview this person and on a podcast or a platform or something. If you have seen it, tell me what you thought about it. What do you think about Lil Nas X and his interviews and his interview style when he is in spaces like the one that was on The Shop and the other spaces like when he was with Angela Martinez? Like, you all can see the difference. You can look at the material. Tell me what you thought about it. Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you later on tonight. Bye.